Hi guys in YouTube land, welcome. I am doing a video on something that I ended up getting from the American Girl store, and at first I was thinking I'm not really going to get another one. I'm not going to get another one of these dolls, but for some reason 127 was just standing out. And I made a pact with myself. I said, if I don't see one that I really, really like, then I will not pick her up. And lo and behold, they only had 3 on the floor. And out of the 3 on the floor, I chose this 127. So I think the trick for me as a doll collector, and maybe this is so much for you guys who are watching, but the trick for me when I'm picking out a doll is to pick out a doll that resembles the doll that I want, that I would like, that I find cute. But also, and that has a lot to do with the face mold and just how unique the doll is in itself. But the second part is a lot of times if I see a doll on display enough, whether it's on the website or whether it's in a catalog, that's enough marketing for me as a consumer to say whether or not I would like to have the doll in my collection. And I've seen enough of these catalogs and advertisements for 127 to think that she would be a good investment for me and my doll collection, because remember, I usually collect dolls of color, dolls that are African American, just because I am a person of color. I am African American. So I feel like sometimes there are not enough dolls made in the world to survive over the years, because either people don't buy them, or there's not enough consumers that are African American who companies feel will buy these dolls, or I don't know. I'm just going off of past circumstances. And since the women on my maternal side of the family, my mother's side of the family, were mostly doll collectors and they've died out, since some of them own dolls, I've even taken a gander at their doll collection and thought to myself, well, why don't they have more African American dolls? And I think for me, I've heard enough interviews from other doll collectors who are African American like me that back in the late 70s, 80s, and even early 90s, a lot of toy companies just didn't manufacture as many African American dolls, or dolls of color. So when dolls like this come out, I'm more than happy to purchase these types of dolls. Maybe I won't purchase them right away, but I definitely have them on my bucket list to purchase them before the doll company starts to retire them or starts to get rid of them. Okay, so anyway, because I would see this doll heavily in rotation when it comes to advertising, I just began just putting her in my mind. So of course I was going to walk out of the store with a 127. So you guys can take a look and see if she's like the other 127s that you guys have seen so far on YouTube. Okay, so this is my 123. She is a Truly Me 123, and her name is Wy Monroe. And Wiley is a family name, so I really had to think long and hard. Do I want to name this girl doll Wy Monroe, because I knew I wanted the name Wiley, but Wiley is more of a surname and not so much a first name. But in my family, it's such a strong name, because again, that name is so important in my family. So I knew that I wanted to eventually name a doll Wiley. But because I wanted that to be her first name and not a surname, I just was like, okay, let me give her a middle name that is a surname as well, but could also be a first name. And when I thought about it, I thought, okay, what name could I pick? And at first I thought Madison would be a really good middle name. So I kept thinking Wiley Madison. But after giving it some thought, I thought, no, Monroe. I've always thought Marilyn Monroe was such a beautiful, beautiful actress and person, and or human being, right? Because it just boils down to attractiveness. And she was a very attractive person, let alone, female actress. But, because obviously you can have makeup, you can get done up. That's what makeup, hair, and makeup is for. But when you're an attractive person, you don't really need that so much. And because that was her profession, to be an actress, of course she was attractive to begin with for them to even ask her to go into that method of career. But anyway, going back to Wiley Monroe, I just felt like she looked like a Monroe more than a Madison, and I knew I wanted to keep the name Wiley. So that is her name, the family name Wiley. And I do believe she looks like a Wiley Monroe, and because of my family history, it really suits her really nicely because Monroe means, I think, of the valley, or it has to do with marshland. And that was the case with the person in my family whose name was Wiley. So I really feel like that's such a fitting name for her because I did name her after that person. So she's got these gorgeous eyes, as you guys well know, because she's well documented all over YouTube and even Instagram or TikTok, has done a couple of videos on her. So I feel like I don't really have to spend a lot of time on the type of doll I picked out. She's got this beautiful hair. A lot of times people will compare her wig to Yvette's, but I feel like her wig is very similar to Yvette's. I don't really see it as easier. I still consider this wig very textured. And so for her to be a doll of color, a dark vinyl doll of color, where she could be African American, she could be Brazilian, she could be Portuguese, she could be Spanish, she could be anything that, she could be Moorish. So anything that would have DNA that would give her that dark skin, and maybe light color eyes. She could have that genetic background if she wanted, or if you wanted her to have that genetic background. I've even seen people talk about going to Peru, as far as Peru, and they've seen Peruvian women that look like this doll. So, given my background as African American with American ancestry, mixed with all kinds of things, Scott Irish, and a huge amount of African American genes, you could imagine the combinations that come out of my family. So she's just perfect for my collection because she does mirror a lot of people in my family. So I feel like Wiley Monroe works as a really good name. You guys can probably tell that I do have the accessories that come with these dolls. You have to buy them separately, but you get a percentage off. So because she was advertised with this bow so heavily, I did end up getting these accessories. And when I looked at her meet outfit, I was like, her meet outfit doesn't really seem like it would fit these accessories. But I've seen American Girl market these outfits, as mix and match accessories where you could mix and match them with other Truly Me dolls. And so that's what I'm going to do. I even brought out my Claudie doll because she was the first doll that I ended up getting with permanent eyelashes. And I wanted to obviously show that this doll too has permanent eyelashes. But because of her hair, and maybe because of how her hair kind of falls in her face, I don't really think you guys will notice the lashes as much on Wy Monroe as you would the Claudie doll, because her hair is a different texture, but it's also off of her face due to the curls and tendrils that she has. And of course I have Melody back there, and my other espresso haired doll back there, Lorelei. So yeah, so far so good. So I'll show you guys how the accessories kind of go together with other dolls as well. Okay, so here is my 121 doll, Ginger Hensley, and she also has the permanent eyelashes. And she's a little bit different in her vinyl. Like her vinyl is a little lighter, and Wy Monroe is a shade darker. And again, the shades don't mean anything to me as far as beauty is concerned and doll quality, because these dolls are extremely beautiful dolls. Just the way that American Girl has designed them and made them, they are just beautiful, beautiful dolls to have in your collection and to just look at and play with. So again, I got these accessories because Ginger actually came with this dress. And I'm not a big fan of those jersey dresses, but I do like how American Girl gives you that mix and match capability or capabilities with the dresses. I also have these shoes from getting Samantha Sharon. That doll came with these shoes. So I feel like if that's the case, if I can just mix and match the different dresses and shoes and whatnot, I can live with that. I can do that because again, American Girl spends a lot of money on marketing. So they have marketed these dolls really, really well when it comes to the consumer buying things that they can break up, sets that they can break up on the dolls, as opposed to just buying one set that you can use for all of the dolls. Maybe that's a good marketing strategy, maybe it's not, but for me, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so accessories and dolls go hand in hand with me. That was the case with Barbie and her line, and in the 80s there was like a big marketing push for Barbie. So a lot of people ended up getting Barbie dolls and the tiny accessories. So when American Girl came on the scene, American Girl marketed their dolls the same way, where you ended up having a timeline such as Melody's, and you would get little accessories for her timeline, and then you would have dolls like Julie, and Julie would have great accessories as well. So if you liked Julie's accessories, but you had the Melody doll, in a way, you wanted to make sure that you added Julie to your collection, whether you liked the Julie doll or not, simply because Julie's accessories were so amazing. And so, you know, it's a matter of marketing. But speaking of marketing, and this has nothing to do with the accessories, but it has to do with our generation. So our generation did come out with a beautiful set that was like a baking set. And this set, every baking set has a name. I think it's called Tasty Pastry. And so I brought out a Truly Me doll apron that I can put with Wiley because again, I'm not going to take her out of this outfit, her meat outfit, for some time. I really love the way that the bow and the meat outfit look together. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put like a little AG apron on her, and I'm going to have her join my little baker, who is Claudie. And you guys can see my little Christmas diorama back there with Barbie. But right now I'm just trying to like think of where I want to put it in storage. So ignore that. But I do have Claudie out here for that reason. And I still have Julie's accessories out just because I haven't put Julie and Melody's accessories away. So I figure, okay, this might be a spoiler alert, but for those of you who have Julie, you should know that Julie's mother comes from money, like old money. We're talking old money, because I think her father did some kind of work in France. And for a while in Julie's story, Julie the American Girl, in her book, Julie's mother talks about how she spent part of her childhood in France. And I believe they also had a maid. So just like Molly had a maid and just like Samantha had a maid, Julie was in France and she had a maid. So Julie could have easily learned how to make these Madelines. And so if you guys have the doll Julie and you don't have the doll Claudie, you could easily use this set from our generation as a backdrop for Julie's collection. So if you wanted to put some Madelines on Julie's nightstand because she's going to have it for a midnight snack, you could easily do that. And with Melody sharing Julie's collection and having her radio here, you could easily have it so that when Melody helps her mother make her birthday cake, they also set aside some time to make what looks like a lemon pie, some kind of sorbet pie. And I know that they don't call it sorbet pie. That just doesn't even sound appetizing. But it's some kind of pie. Let me kind of read the back and take this out so that you guys can see me do a quick review of this. But yeah, that's kind of how Wiley looks. And because Wiley is a Truly Me doll, you know, Wiley can fit in with this set perfectly. Like there's no time period for Wiley. So, you know, she could use this anytime she's really ready to bake with her modern day sisters and brothers. I don't have any boys in this scene, but, you know, if I did bring out my boy dolls, they would surely be baking. It's not just something that girls have to learn how to do, but boys too. All right, talk to you later. What am I talking about? All right, let me go ahead and take this out real quick and show you guys how this looks. Okay, here's the moment of truth. We have the rolling pin. We have the lemons, which I'm grateful that they're stuck together. And then you have the 2 eggs, which are separate. And then you have the tart pastry right here. This is the tart dough that you would roll, that you would use the rolling pin to roll out. Then, of course, you have the lemon zester. So that's really, really cute to zest the lemon. And of course, you have your little whisk, because you would need a whisk. And I'm happy that it's all that uniform pink. It's not just like different colors. Then you have the batter in the bowl. And does it come out? It doesn't appear to come out, but I like how you can see like the little indentation and a few air bubbles. See how that looks? So anyone who has been in the kitchen knows that that batter comes out looking like that. Nice and creamy. You have measuring spoons. So far you have what it takes to at least get the batter the way that you want. And it's a good size for Claudie and Melody and anyone else who wants to bake. But Claudie's our baker, so she would pretty much get probably any kind of pictures with this if she wanted to. All right, so far so good with the review. Okay, next you have the Madeleines and the Madeline mold, which is pretty much what I fell in love with, was the Madeline mold to make these Madelines. So you have some Madelines that are just plain, like these two. So obviously when you pour in the batter, you could pour them in. And then of course it's the mold that gives them that nice little indentation that looks like shells, little seashells. And Madelines are French cookies. So they were developed over in France. And so that's how they would come out of the oven, all poofy like that. And so you can see the mold is really, really nice. You can see the indentations. And then when you turn them around like Melody would do, like Claudie would do, taking them out of the oven, they have that nice crisp mold. So really nice, well done. Well done, our generation. Looks like a fun set. You know, obviously you would take a spoonful of butter, melt it, and put it in your batter. Or you could take a little bit of butter and make it so that you could butter the Madeline mold, so that way your Madelines won't stick to the pan. And now for the tart. It doesn't say what kind of tart this is, but you can tell by the lemons and the color and the raspberry bowl, the bowl of raspberries, that this is meant to be a raspberry tart. And that's how it comes out. So if you wanted to add some lemon garnish to it and you wanted to zest yourself some lemon garnish, you would take your zester again and, you know, zest the lemon and then shake out some lemon garnish onto the tart slice. But this is the tart pan. Look how cute that is, and it has little heart powdered sugar on it. Maybe this is just powdered sugar, and then right here you have like these little hearts, so maybe that's just something extra. And can you take, yep, you can take the tart out of the pan. So this is a tart mold or a tart pan, and you could even butter the pan. And you could use some extra flour that you get in the Our Generation baking sets, or if you have Claudie's Bakery, she comes with flour. The bakery comes with some flour that you could use for this pan. So again, if you have Julie's nightstand, that goes well. That coloring for the raspberry tart goes well with Julie's colors. You could even put a bowl of raspberries on her nightstand. And you could also put, there we go. You could also, oh, there goes one of the dolls. You could also put a Madeline on her plate so that it would go with her stand, her nightstand. So that would be a wonderful snack for Julie. So you could role play that she's visiting some relatives in France, or maybe her mother went back to France to buy a house. maybe she's got some property in France, or maybe she's in California and she's having this for a snack and a meal. So very nice. Okay, so here we go. Here's Wiley in her baking apron. So if you wanted to show her baking madeleines, you could do that as well. And she would fit right in. And so there's Julie's tumbler or her glass to go with her nightstand and all of the things that Julie would bake with if you were to bring out Julie. Okay guys, well that is the review of the set and how my 127 fits right in with my collection. All right guys, I will talk to you later.